Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Mangla, working as an assistant professor for the BBA department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The subject that I take up here is organizational behavior. This is our 11th lecture of our OB lecture series, and the topics that we'll be covering today are communication, elements of communication process, types of communication, barriers of communication, team and types of teams. Okay, so let's get started. Now, the whole topic is basically of interpersonal communication. So, we'll begin with communication. Now, communication basically means, it is a mode via which we share our ideas or we share our views with other persons. It is a way via which we can express ourselves to others. Let's see in detail. Communication is a Latin word which means to share. It is the sharing of information between different individuals. See, when we share information between different individuals, that's called communication. It includes the sharing of ideas, concepts, imaginations, behaviors, and written content. So we can share any of these things. Communication is simply defined as the transfer of information from one place to another. So if we talk about in layman terms, communication is what? It is basically transfer of information from one person to another. And this transfer of information, it can be conducted in various ways. And that is what we'll be seeing in our upcoming topic, where we'll be studying about types of communication. So that is the ways in which we can communicate our views or our ideas to other people. Now let's see the 7 major elements of communication process. Now in communication process, see, these are the major elements. First one is sender. Now sender is the person who intends to convey the message. जो message convey करना चाहता है, who wants to tell the people about something. So he is the sender and he is conveying the message with the intention of passing information and ideas to others. Now the second major element is idea or the message. So message is the subject matter of the communication. It is basically this may be an opinion or this may be an attitude or feeling, view or order or suggestion. So basically, the information which the sender wants to communicate, that is called the idea or the message. The third element is encoding. Now since subject matter of communication, because it is very theoretical and it is intangible, so it further requires, that it further requires passing or, it requires use of certain symbols, like it can be word or actions or pictures. And conversion of subject matter into these symbols, when we convert our subject matter into symbol, that process is called encoding. When we are converting our matter into symbols, that's called encoding. Alright. The next element is communication channel. The person who is interested in communicating, he has to choose a specific channel for sending the required information or ideas or his viewpoints. And this information, it is transmitted to the receiver through certain channels which can be either formal or informal. Channels can be many. Now the next element is receiver. Now receiver is the person who receives the message or to whom the message is sent. जिसको message भेजा जाता है, जिसको message receive होता है, that is called the receiver. So it is the receiver who tries to understand the message in the best possible manner in achieving the desired objectives. Then the next element is decoding. See, the person who receives the message or the symbol from the communicator or the sender, he tries to convert the same in such a way so that he can extract the meaning of the thing which has been sent. So that extraction of that content is called decoding. Alright, when we decode the symbols, when we extract the meaning of the content which has been sent via symbols or via message, so that is called decoding. And the last thing is feedback. Feedback is the process of ensuring that receiver has received the message and understood in the same sense as sender meant it. So feedback is that process जहाँ पे receiver he ensures the sender कि हाँ he has received the message and he even makes it clear that he has understood the message in the same manner the way the sender has sent it. So these are the 7 major elements of communication process. Now next we will see the types of communication. There are different kinds of information and Basically there are two major types, but we have one more, that is written one. So in all we have three types of communications: verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and written communication. Now first we'll see them in detail. First one is verbal communication. See, verbal communication is the sharing of information of through speech. When we verbally, by speaking, when we convey our message, that is called verbal communication. It includes the information that people hear on radios, televisions, telephones, speeches and interviews. तो यहाँ पे लोग क्या करते हैं? They are verbally speaking. रेडियो पे लोग बोल रहे होते हैं and we hear it. So that is verbal. Television पे भी we view it also and we hear it also. Speeches also, and there also people are speaking. So there is a verbal conduct. There is a mode of conduct which is called speech. So via speaking, the information is transferred from one people to the other. So verbal communication, if it is conducted in a two-way loop, it is usually based on immediate responses. It usually has immediate responses. And it is also influenced by eye contact or gestures or facial expressions. They can also have an impact on verbal communication. The next type of communication is non-verbal. Now written or spoken words are not the only means. They are not the only way of sharing a message. When there is no use of word, when we don't use word and the recipient understands what the sender is trying to say or what the sender is asking, then it is known as non-verbal communication. जब बिना बोले या बिना words के use के, when the receiver understands the message of the sender, that is called non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication is conducted through eye contact or postures or gestures or facial expressions or chronomics and haptics. And use of pictures or symbols and graphs, they can also help a person in communicating effectively. The third type of communication is written communication. Now written communication includes the kind of information transfer where the encoding of a message is done in written form. Here the message is encoded in a written form. The message may be only written in words, or it may include different symbols also, or sometimes even machine codes are also included. And written communication, it is influenced by writing and representation skills of an individual. So these are the three types of communications that we have. Next we'll see the barriers of communication. See, we have majorly four barriers: linguistic barriers, psychological barriers, emotional barriers, and physical barriers of communication. Let's see them one by one in detail. First one is linguistic barrier. See, the language barrier, it is one of the main barriers that limit effective communication. Language is the most commonly employed tool of communication. That's the most important tool. And as per some estimate, the dialects of every two region, they change within a few kilometers. The dialects change, and even in the same workplace also, different employees, they have different linguistic skills, and because of that it becomes a barrier of communication. That if people have different linguistic skill, and if one individual who is having a certain skill, he is unable to understand the language which the other one speaks, so that is when the communication gets hampered. So linguistic barrier is one of the major barriers that we face in communication. The second one is psychological barrier. Now there are various mental and psychological issues that may be the barriers to effective communication. Some people have got stage fear, some have got speech disorder, or some phobia, or some depression. So all these are called psychological or mental issues which people face and which act as a barrier for the communication. And all these conditions, they are very difficult to manage sometimes, and they most certainly limit the ease of communication. Now the third type of barrier that we have is emotional barrier. The emotional IQ of a person determines the ease and comfort with which they can communicate. Now a person who is very emotionally mature, he will be able to communicate effectively, and whereas the people who let their emotions take over face, the people who are very emotional, who let their emotions take over them, so they will face difficulty in communicating at times. So emotions like anger, frustration, humor, they can blur the decision making capabilities of a person, and thus they limit the effectiveness of their communication. ऐसे emotions की वजह से communication भी effect होती है. Alright. And the last one is physical barriers of communication. Now physical barriers are the most obvious barriers to effective communication. and they can be easily removable also in principle at least. They include the barriers like noise or closed doors or faulty equipment used for communication or closed cabins, etc. And sometimes, like in a large office also, the physical separation between various employees combined with faulty equipment, they may result in several barriers to effective communication. So these are the 4 types of barriers of communication that we have. Now let's see the next topic, that is the whole topic is team process. We'll be dealing with team and types of teams herein. Now, team, when 2 or more people who are interdependent and who are ready to share the responsibilities for the outcome all together in a social system, they all comprise of a team. Alright. So, a team is a small number of employees with complementary competencies. Now, competencies means the skill or knowledge or ability of the employees. Such employees who are committed to common performance goals, who are committed to a common goal and working relationships for which they hold themselves mutually accountable, for which they think कि अगर कुछ भी काम होता है, whether it has a positive impact or negative impact, for which the whole team will be accountable all together. So those members are called, those number of employees who are working all together, they form a team. Alright. So basically, from here we can derive in the characteristics of team. Now a team has small number of people. It has got complementary skills, that means ability or knowledge or skill. Then it is made for a common purpose and it has got mutual accountability. So these are a few characteristics of the team which we can derive from the definition itself. Now let's see the various types of teams that we have. We have basically 4 types of teams: problem solving team, cross functional teams, self managed teams and virtual teams. Alright. Let's see them one by one in detail. First one, problem solving teams. See, these teams focus on specific issues in their area of responsibility. They develop potential solutions and they often are empowered to take actions with defined limits. And such teams, they frequently address the quality or cost problems. Alright. So they are focusing on the specific area which is of their responsibility. And they develop solutions also for such kind of problems whichever arise within their defined limits. The second type of team is cross-functional team. Now this kind of team, they bring together the knowledge and skill of people from various work areas. Alag-alag work areas se jo log hai, who are working, they bring together their knowledge and skill to identify and to solve mutual problems. So whatever problems are there, they solve their problems equally, mutually, by bringing different people of different skills all together. And what they do is they draw members from several specialities or functions and deal with problems that cut across departmental and functional lines. ऐसी problem जिनमें which have cut across the departmental lines or which cannot be solved via a specific department. So therein we require cross-functional teams to solve such problems or to overcome such issues or problems. Alright. The next type of team is self-managed teams. Now they normally consist of employees who must work together effectively daily to manufacture an entire product or major identifiable component or service. And they perform a variety of managerial tasks also, like they schedule work and vacation by members, they are ordering materials, they are deciding on team leadership, or they are setting key team goals, or they are doing the budgeting part, or they are hiring replacements. So various managerial tasks are also performed by these kind of teams. Now the last type of team that we have is virtual team. Now a virtual team is a group of individuals who collaborate through various information technologies on one or more projects while being at 2 or more locations. So they are at 2 or more locations, but they are communicating via information technology. By the use of internet, they are communicating with each other. And their team members, they may be from one or more multiple organizations also. So these are the types of teams that we have. That's all. Let's see the the questions based on today's concept. Define communication and explain the major elements of communication process. Describe the barriers to communication. What is team? How many types of teams are there? Stay tuned for more upcoming lectures. Thank you.